Hi, and welcome back to Highly Social with Mike Eaton. I know it's been a very long time since you've seen me, and that's your fault. And you're bad, and you should feel bad about it. No, my car got destroyed by a drunk woman on 6th Street, and it was going to be $50 in Ubers each way to come out here, and I love you guys, but not that much. So Daddy's back on wheels, and so we're back on the air. I also want to thank our sponsor, of course, Joker Designs, JOKR Designs on Instagram for the 3-piece bong. Go and get yourself one. Make yourself happy. And that is enough from the sponsors. Let's get into it. Today's guest is the amazing Bill Dawes.
Hey,
Welcome,
Mike. How
Bill.
you doing?
I'm great. We also have Darian
Yeah,
here. But
what's Darren doing back there?
Who knows? It's Darian.
Getting drunk. Hair the dog.
Yeah, that's a great choice. The Hard AF seltzer.
I wouldn't mind one of those seltzers, by the way.
You want one?
I mean, why not? It's
What flavor are you
breakfast time.
feeling?
That's peach.
Peach, lemon, lime.
I think lemon lime might be the move for me. There you go. You can have the peach.
Oh, no. I
Boom.
guess I have to-
Killing it.
Hey, I'm a genius.
Oh, look at that. Podcast.
told you.
Let's do it.
Hard AF seltzer. I like this.
Yeah.
Plug.
Hard AF Seltzer, if you don't know, is made by Cialis. It's guaranteed to last 3 to 5 hours with your first erection.
I almost believed you for a second. I was like, wait, is there boner shit in here?
Wouldn't that be terrifying if you were just drinking boner juice and had no idea?
I think that's a good idea. I think they should mix like a hard seltzer with like boner shit. That'd be great. Imagine they could serve it at bars. Everyone would just be walking around with boners. That'd be a problem, actually.
It sounds
Maybe.
like a huge problem.
Maybe a lawsuit waiting to
It
happen.
sounds like a huge. No, it sounds.
I would be honest, it's a slightly above average problem, but not huge. If we're going by the numbers,
It's a small problem.
Yeah.
No, that seems like something they'd produce that into like a test market.
Yeah.
And the test market would burn down.
We should do that in East Palestine, Ohio.
Yeah, I think they did. I think that's what happened.
Look, I know you guys are breathing plastic or whatever,
Yeah.
but try these beer boners.
Yeah.
Beer boners. That'd be the name of it. Dude,
pretty good.
Shark Tank. I want
Let's go.
$300,000, 10% equity.
Sharks, are you soft and sober?
You old white fucks. You know your dicks aren't hard ever.
Oh, what's the lady shark's name?
Oh, I know this. There's Lori.
Okay.
Who's Lori Grenier?
What is she? Is she like Spanx or something?
No, there's Barbara Corcoran, who's like real estate, and she's older, and Lori, who's kind of fuckable.
Okay.
And Lori's the QVC queen.
Oh, I don't respect that.
Yeah. And Barbara hates Lori because Lori's younger and hotter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Barbara worked.
Yeah, Barbara.
Like real estate's hard.
oh, yeah.
Do you know how many dicks you have to suck to sell a house?
And by the way, she was real estate in like
you?
Manhattan, I think.
Ooh.
Barbara had to be, she had to be a massive bitch just to get anything done.
Can you imagine haggling with that many Jews?
No comment.
I mean, but like I have Jewish friends that did like they're loan officers in New York, and like you talk to them about like the heyday of stuff going on up there, and it's like that had to be their wet dream. I mean, they're just haggle, just everywhere. They fucking loved it.
Yeah, let's move on from the Jews.
Okay.
Because I'm Jewish, by the way.
Yeah.
I know I talk. It's so funny when we talk about shit on stage and then
Well, I do
people
that
go,
because you've been on screen.
no, well, I do. I talk about something on stage. People go, is this really? I'm like, why would I do a 5-minute bit that's a total lie?
Well, I'll be honest
I mean,
with you, 'cause I do
lie
that. I do that a
sometimes,
lot.
But you go like, I was born in Africa and my dad worked in the Peace Corps, and then we moved to China, and none of it's true. Like, what? It's such a
Yeah.
weird. I feel like you can lie like 20% of the time,
Yeah.
maybe 30%.
There needs to be speckles of truth in the lie, though.
Yeah.
Or you just get lost in it.
Yeah,
It's too performative and it's inauthentic, and people can tell.
completely. I agree. That's part of the problem with like one-liners I have. Well, I've never really. Well, I'm not a one-liner comic because I'm not a good enough joke writer, but also because like sometimes I'm like, Jeselnik is genius, obviously, but his joke is like, my dad is kind of like the Brady Bunch dad. He also died of AIDS. And if his dad died of AIDS, I'm like, that's like the best joke ever written.
Yeah.
But he didn't, so
No.
I'm kind of like, all right.
Yeah, that's always been my critique of Jeselnik is that he was just a worse Tosh. Because everything that Daniel Tosh does, he does. It's what Jeselnik does, but it's drawn out with truth in it.
Yeah. Tosh, by the way, I think one of the most underrated comics alive.
For sure.
Maybe because he has severe autism and people don't like. He's too arch to deal with people. I have no idea. But that guy is like, I don't know what people slept on him because I think he is like the best writer and the edgiest writer and like so funny and smart. I don't know.
He must have been just like the worst hang ever or something. Because I don't get that. But I mean, to be fair, Tosh.0 makes him uber buku bucks.
Yeah,
he
so
doesn't need to tour.
He'll
But,
just do a theater once in Blue Moon.
But
Yeah,
he clearly still has the itch because he's still doing 6 shows at fucking the Tropicana in Vegas, and selling them out and trying new shit. I just saw him last year when he came through to ACL Live. Fucking incredible.
yeah.
It sucks seeing this happens to everyone I ever love. As soon as they get super famous, then they have to cater to their fucking middle of the road fans. So his intro was him doing singing some very gay song and doing gay shit on a video, and then he comes out and then just does his great jokes. So I was like, that's pretty Tosh.0-y. But then the rest, it was like, man, hearing his take on Brittany Griner after hearing all these shitty open micers versions of it, it was like, yeah, that's what you do with this joke.
Yeah. It's always so funny when you see like the real amazing OG comics like create the first joke. Like I saw Greg Fitzsimmons, one of the best, right? I mean, I think a lot of people agree with it.
Yeah.
Boston OG, like literally like a year ago, when it first came out of the news about the trade. And he was like, this is the only WA trade anyone's ever heard about, or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like a year ago. And then, of course, within then it's on Twitter, then it's on Facebook, then you see comics, and you're like, oh, man.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, maybe it's just everyone collectively figures out, why am I becoming Trump like this all of a sudden? Maybe everyone figures out at the same time, or like, you see one person do it, and then it just slowly gets stolen in this weird osmosis.
It
goes
is.
on the comedy world. Yeah.
It's so fucking weird the way that happens. I mean, I genuinely wanted to work on a Brittany Griner joke because I got arrested for weed.
Oh, yeah.
Just like her. And it's like, this bitch, you guys pretend to care. You don't even like her sport. You like comedy.
Yeah,
you can't get
yeah.
on my side. I didn't get traded for
That's so
anybody.
funny.
I just had to hire a lawyer,
Yeah. I got detained in Egypt for 48 hours.
Yeah.
But we're not going to talk about the story because I feel like I want to kill myself. But at the same time, so I was like, I thought about that. I was like, I wonder if I really had to go to prison in Egypt, which was a possibility. I wonder if anything would have happened. As a white male, definitely not today. 2023, they'd be like, fucking let him rot.
Yeah. No, I think you would have turned into, what's that cartoon? The superhero, Moon Knight. That's what would have happened. You would have had a schizophrenic break and turned into an assassin if you'd got put in Egyptian prison.
Oh, yeah. I would come out with like scars on my face and one glass eye.
You'd be a very different character on SWAT.
God. Oh, boy.
Oh, man. So how has TV life been treating you?
Oh, TV life. Let me tell you about TV life.
No,
TV
please
life.
tell us what it's like to have money.
Yeah.
Oh, well, myth number
please.
one.
Give us hope, fucker.
What money are you fucking talking about? You guys probably have more money than me. Are you out of your fucking mind? Because you get first. Here's a problem with TV money. When you work like me, which is like not as a regular, just guest stars and recurring every once in a while. The problem is the tax people. I'm not going to say who they are. The Jews. No, that's a joke. That's a joke. No, the tax. Why did I say it?
Because it's fun.
Okay, that's a joke. But they tax you like you make that money every week, right? So if I make $10,000 a week for an episode of SWAT or something like that, right? They're going to tax me like I make $10,000 a week every week, right?
Well, that's AIDS.
And then you have a manager fee and an agent fee who take off from the gross, not the net.
Oh.
So you end up after $10,000 gig, you get like less than $5,000. You know what I mean?
Holy shit.
And then you got to wait. So if you work like, let me put it this way.
So is this why like all the actors I really like are Republicans? Because they're like, stop taking my fucking money.
Well, I mean, come on, look at all these people who get like super rich all of a sudden. They're going, oh, wait a second, what? What a project is being developed right next to my home here? I mean, look what Steph Curry always did. So it's kind of it's nice because you get like insurance and then residuals used to come a lot, but it's sort of not in terms of money. It's way better to do shit under the table and get comedy gigs that pay like one check, and then you just like make everything right after the end of the year and lie about expenses allegedly. So, but yeah, I get fucked. Like when I did Alaska Daily, which is tomorrow. Well, Thursday was whatever day. Thursday the 2nd. Anyway. I was in
this will come
Canada.
out tonight.
So Canada took like half my fucking money. I don't know how I'm going to get it back from the Canadian government. I don't know.
Yeah, why do you pay into their taxes? Pay into ours.
Because they're communists.
Fuckers.
They're fucking Canadians. You know them.
They took it out of your check before you got it?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
In
now,
Canada, because they don't do that in the States.
no. So I figured I don't know what I got to do. I got to somehow like get it from. I don't know what the fuck. Anyway, the point is, I'm not rich.
Let's
That's
do a
the
sleeper
bottom
cell.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it's so interesting. Like, so we were just talking about they just did the Keenan Presents thing here in Austin, and at first glance, it very much just looks like a scam. Like for all the comics, and so
And
many
on
people are
second
like,
glance, even a bigger scam.
Yeah, I was just hey.
well,
yeah.
and then like last night we get the paperwork for it, and it says you're signing away your rights to this for $1. And it was like, well, I don't have time to call an entertainment lawyer right now,
Yeah.
and I'm also poor, so they're not.
And
gonna
also, like,
answer.
he's going like, well, let's make it $2 to make it fair. Like, what's the
Yes,
negotiation?
Mr. Barrigoni, I'd
Wait,
love to.
you had to sign stuff.
Yeah, so there was like a contract that you signed it, and so like we're like all looking at it, and we're like, yo, we all do copious amounts of drugs allegedly. We have 6 brain cells in this group of 20. We don't know what any of this legalese means. Hereby offer to. Like, that's what the fuck is that? And
In perpetuity? What?
yeah, and everyone's like, perpetuity. I'm gonna live 6 months. You know. So like everybody's trying to figure it out, and like it's 3 minutes to a decent crowd, but
It was 3-minute sets?
3-minute sets.
God damn. That's good Jedi training. I
4
guess.
shows of 20 comics. So they had 80 comics in 2 days, each doing 3 minutes.
I didn't sign shit.
And then there is an audience vote where they vote on a QR code for who they like. They emphasize multiple times, like, hey, we don't actually care about the QR codes. Like, that's not going to influence anything. It's like, yeah, they are, or you wouldn't do them.
Yeah.
The fuck you mean?
Yeah.
So there's all of that side of it. But talking to all my comic friends, we all basically like looked at it like, whatever. If something amazing happens from it, sure, it's a lottery, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I'm not gonna get gray hairs over stressing out about this project. But when I posted the poster on my Facebook, and it's my face with Tone Bell and Kenan Thompson,
Yeah.
people in my family that like have been making fun of me were like, "Dude, congrats, you're finally making it." It's like, dog, I got $1. they gave me $1 to do 3. I've done way cooler shit in the last week.
100%. Yeah. I always love it when people go, hey, man, congrats. You made it. And you're like, no, man, it's a Taco Bell commercial. Calm down. You know.
I also love the idea that they would still be able to talk to me if I'd made it. Like, oh, yeah, you think I'm answering when I made it? Fuck yourself.
Unfriend.
Yeah. Dude, I realized recently I'm bad at social media.
Oh, dude, it's the worst.
I'm a people pleaser, so when I meet people and they follow me on Instagram, I follow them back.
Yeah.
'Cause we're right there. And
What's
I
wrong
don't
with
wanna,
that? You're not supposed to do that?
I apparently, because I just hit the limit of people I'm allowed to follow. I'm following
on social
7,500.
Yeah, I'm following 7,500 people.
on Instagram.
On Instagram.
Oh, wow.
So last night, this very nice guy was like, "Hey man, you were so fucking funny. I want to follow you." He follows me, and then I go to follow him, and it's like error, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, dude, it's full." And it's like,
I didn't know that existed as a thing. on
it's
Instagram.
dumb.
Yeah.
And now, and also at least 4,000 of the 7,500 that I follow are restaurants. You know, it's like
Yeah,
I
and some
need
of them
that.
were deactivated. Probably they just stay there.
And why doesn't Instagram just take those off?
Yeah.
You fuckers have to know.
Yeah. Fucking Zuckerberg.
If you could kill one influential people without any consequences,
Fuck, marry, kill.
yeah, but just kill. And who do you pick to do the most either disruption or just your own agenda?
God, that's a good question. So I have to kill someone.
Yeah, but there's no consequences.
No consequences.
Yeah.
Well,
For the killing itself, there will be consequences of their death.
well, in terms of the feedback of the podcast, it has to be a white male. So
Okay.
let me think.
Dead or alive?
Well,
Dig them up from the grave and then kill them again after they've been reanimated as a zombie.
you piece of shit. I'm gonna go with Hitler. If I could just be the guy that killed Hitler, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
God, that's a tough one.
I killed Gandhi.
Okay, start with you, and I'll think of something.
I think that I would probably kill Elon Musk.
Really?
I think that would be the most fun because it wouldn't really do much in terms of the effects on the companies.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But
Dude.
what?
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
He does it. He's a fucking PR figurehead. He does as much for his companies as the president does for the country.
He's like a fucking legit engineer.
No, he's not at all. Not at all. He hasn't done shit. He hasn't done jack shit at any of the companies.
Mike, you're wearing a onesie.
Yeah. Speaking of, Tuxie. ultimate in lounge comfort. This is all one piece.
Is it really?
It is. I climb in through this zipper up here.
Whoa.
The shorts are attached. I have a pee-pee zipper, so I don't have to take the whole thing off.
I want
pee-pee.
that.
It's maximum comfort.
First of all, pussy magnet for sure, right?
Ladies.
You want some of this?
Yeah, they do. Climbing Papa's kangaroo pouch. No, I would kill Elon because a lot of people have this misconception that he contributes whatsoever.
But there'd be no repercussions, but would you get credit for killing him?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You could get some serious liberal tang if you were like, oh, this guy killed Elon. You'd be like, ladies.
Why do liberals hate Elon?
Because all of a sudden, because you know how it is.
Well, mostly because when he got Twitter back, he was like, Republicans, you may talk again.
Yeah.
Oh,
And now-
that makes sense.
So now he is obviously a member of the Nazi Party because now that Republicans talk. And also Jack Dorsey was like the epitome of the liberal hippie who you knew just like fucked multiple
But
women.
the liberals
It's
hate-
all about
seems-
love and all about expression was getting double
It seemed
blowjobs.
like liberals hated Elon before Elon even took over Twitter, though.
I feel like when Tesla started, I feel like they liked him because he's like, he's saving the environment because he's only mining green batteries, which make slaves out of half of Africa.
I mean, he's going back to his roots. His dad owned an apartheid emerald mine.
Really?
Yeah.
That's where his money came from.
That's actually so correct.
yeah.
So cool.
People don't understand that. And by the way, not to pitch my show on Alaska Daily, but a lot of because my character is an oil rigger, please, in Alaska.
Yes.
And he is taking Hillary Swank hostage because she comes from New York as this liberal and she's trying to uncover all the the right wing kind of shit and blah blah. And my character's like, fuck you, don't come into my town. You liberals have ruined Alaska because you shut down all the pipelines. And the funny thing about that is I've always been a Democrat. I've always had this liberal thing. And sometimes when you start going down the rabbit hole, you realize like, well, because it's true. They did shut down Greenpeace did shut down all the Alaska pipelines. And what happened was all these men that were working on oil rigs, mostly white men, not even politically affiliated with anyone, they just all became alcoholics. They died from cirrhosis or whatever it is. They committed suicide at an alarming fucking rate because they had nothing to do. They're in the middle of nowhere in Alaska. That was their only job. That was their mission. They had families, and all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, if I kill myself, my kid will get taken care of."
Audi 5000, dude.
Yeah, because there's nothing else for them to do. And all these purple-haired bitches and Greenpeace were just like, "They really? What about the seals? Fuck a seal." In terms of a human life, I take a human life over a fucking seal.
100 times out of 100.
And
I know
this show has mostly been about men's rights since its inception. Yeah.
People like to say I'm a swollen Andrew Tate. So
Well, I mean, but then I also kind of go, well, yeah, also like fuck that guy. That guy's also,
I don't know why.
So
the funniest thing I've ever heard is what did you say? Liberals ruined Alaska.
Well, I mean, like obviously, like I don't know enough about it, but as a character, you have to like research this stuff, and then you start looking into green energy and green batteries, and you realize that mining for green batteries is actually probably way worse than anything that we're doing for fossil fuels. You know what I mean?
all of it's fucked.
All of it's weird.
And like the crazy part is, so I grew up in a very Republican hotbed in like a very wealthy zip code in northern Texas. So most of my formative years, I was open to Republican thinking. And that was where my dad was. And so I learned all this stuff, and like I worked for John McCain. And back then, it like to me, I was one of those people that would describe himself as like a fiscal conservative and a social liberal.
Yeah,
Because
which
it was
I
like,
think is a lot of people.
yeah, and it was like, well, I don't care about any of the gay stuff. None of that affects me in
I
any
think
way,
most
shape,
people are
or
okay
form.
with gay marriage.
Yeah, so that was my thing that made me different from the other people and like the young Republicans. It was like gays get married, immigration doesn't bother me. Like
Weed is awesome.
Yeah, weed is incredible. I think we should tax it, But like I think that in terms of like the federal government, like they should step away from all of that and focus on fixing like the mortgage economy right now is fucked, and it has been for 20 years.
Yeah.
So like I was that, and then I get into college, and I went to a very Republican college, which had the opposite effect.
What college was that?
Hampton, Sydney. It's an all-guys school in the middle of nowhere in Virginia, in a town called Farmville.
In Virginia.
So
Farmville in Virginia. I'm from Virginia. Never heard of Farmville.
It's 45 minutes west of Lynchburg.
Which is named because of, you guessed it. Anyway, go ahead. Farmville.
Is that really why it's called that?
Ooh.
Oh, dude, Virginia is heavy.
No,
with the
I
influence.
know that. But
So this is where it gets interesting. So my school, Hampton City, was the 10th oldest school in the nation. It was like the charter papers were signed by one of the founding fathers.
Whoa.
The school colors are garnet and gray for the Confederate soldiers, and they bled for our country. The last time they canceled classes was because a Civil War skirmish broke out on campus. So it's like this deeply storied historical hotbed of like that kind of thinking. And I went there to get into politics. And then I met all these people and I was like, I'm not like any of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this fucking sucks. And then I, like went on this like journey to figure it out. And then I got like super into like liberalism. And it was like clearly conservatives were ruining stuff. And now that I'm learning more about the business world and getting out there, it's like they both fucking suck.
Everyone sucks. Yeah.
There's not a single politician out there that gives a shit about me or anything that I believe in. Of
course
all
not.
of them care about getting reelected, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then you meet these people that you think were intelligent before, and they're so bought into party politics. You're like, you fell for it, you fucking
Yeah.
retard.
Yeah.
You hate this whole half of the country that agrees with you on more things than they disagree because you watch this one program that tells you they're bad.
Oh gosh, it's so crazy. I mean, we could go down the biggest rabbit hole, but that is just everything now. Because when I was coming up in doing New York theater in the early 1900s, whenever there was like a gay play, the Republicans were out.
So a play?
I don't want to be redundant. But every time there's a gay play, but an expressly gay, not just like a latently gay play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Republicans would picket it and be out front, and everyone, look at these fucking weirdos picketing over every fucking thing that doesn't.
when were they picketing gay play? And this is what years? Like the 80s, 90s?
90s.
Not, yeah, it was when I was in school, so it was like the 90s. Yeah.
They're picketing gays in the 90s in New York?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
How the mighty have
imagine-
fallen.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, all that would happen would be that the play would become a massive fucking hit.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
Cancel
maybe they
culture's
were-
always
maybe
done
that-
that.
Maybe it was
Yeah.
a false fucking.
And then I felt like now I just feel like the protesters aren't the Republicans anymore. The crazy protesters are the liberals out there protesting. Someone saying whatever the other side of the fence is, and
Say
they're
it.
just kind of like. Well, I'm trying to think of an example of like liberals.
I think
protesting
that
I
I
find
think
stupid.
now we're starting it because now I'm even out of the funny at this point. But like, I do think that they did this on purpose. I think about this a lot. That they got censorship to come from the left instead of the right. That's like the biggest change from like the '60s to now.
Yeah.
is like if you look at the one real biggest thing that they got to flip was censorship used to come from the right, from conservatives.
Well, I would argue that a lot of it still is. I would say that the word
even
police are now very liberal, but if you look in terms of like critical race theory and people like working to ban that, that's all Republicans. If you look at like Florida, which is like a perfect microcosm of republicanism,
Yeah.
like they don't want any like teaching of the possibility of gay. Just in school, you don't even mention it. You can't even say gay.
Well, I'm not going to push back too hard on this, but let me just say this.
Yeah.
I don't remember being in school and a teacher ever talking to me about gayness
Yeah.
in elementary school.
Imagine
when I
how
was trying
much
to figure out
freer
how to
your life would
spell.
have been if you found out.
Damn it! You know what? Honestly, I think about that a lot. I think if I was born 20 years ago or
Oh my god,
whatever.
we're about to find out Bill's gay.
No, but people might have convinced me I was a woman for sure.
Yeah?
Because I used to wear my mom's like velour pants and like anything that was satin
Yeah.
or velour, I would just wear it, and I would always wear these baggy, flowy clothes, and which is whatever. It was what it was. I'm clearly all man, but I just wore like that type of shit, And I
Well, look at
imagine
Prince. Prince wasn't any less of a man, and he wore flowy ass dresses.
Yeah, so I don't
dude
think there's anything wrong with. But now I just feel like the minute you start doing anything like that, people are like, you must be a different gender.
So I was reading something really interesting about this because there's, and I have a group of friends that we argue all this political stuff because we all fall all over the spectrum
Yeah.
on our beliefs. And one of the things that's really interesting is like with those of them in the group that have kids, they have a lot of opinions about that. Like, on one hand, the more you're exposed to that kind of stuff, where you're like, hey, demigender and paragender and
Everything's cool.
You could be gender fluid and like hyper acceptance in that side, and like almost a need for you to be different. I remember growing up when I was an outcast and I didn't feel like I fit in. When I went from private school to public school, my first year in public school, when I could write in cursive and I already knew all the shit the teacher was talking about and I was bored, I felt like such a fucking just outcast in every possible way. I'm tucking my shirts in, just like such a little fucking loser. And there was nobody around me. If there had been like an LGBTQ group that had been like, hey, you're whatever, they could have probably convinced me I was a fucking wolf.
Yeah.
And we're like, I'm not a person, I'm a wolf, and that's why I don't
And
fit
one of the
in.
biggest things about human nature, it's way easier to convince someone into something than out of something. So the minute you go down one road, I mean, that's everything. It goes back to COVID, everything. The minute people are like, COVID is going to kill everybody and blah, blah, blah. The minute people believe that and they were double masked and triple masked and alone in their car with their mask, to talk them out of being such a fucking psychopath was near impossible.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, at the beginning, I remember having, like, a legit panic attack, like, full-on can't breathe, tunnel vision, have to do grounding exercises because I'm freaking out. And I was on my back patio. It was March of 2020. Everything had just shut down.
Yeah.
That Tuesday, I had done a show in Ventura. And then literally after the show had finished, while we were all like saying, fuck COVID, it's never going to take anything, everything just started cascading in cancels. All of the major clubs shut down. All of the little clubs shut down. All the bars shut down. Thursday of that week, I went in to my job, and me and my coworker got let go. And then I was like, I have no comedy. I have no job. And then the next week, the video game Animal Crossing is coming out. And 2 of my roommates are super into it. So we're going to have a small get together. We're going to invite 3 or 4 people over, and we're going to have, some food outside, and we're going to social distance, and we're going to play Animal Crossing.
Oh my God.
And I remember I was passing a blunt, and then I realized like, oh, we're passing a blunt. And then it just spiraled. Oh, yeah. And then I was like, my chest is heavy. I can't really breathe. I'm smoking, of course. That's what's happening. And I'm high, and so the paranoia. But then I'm just like, I have COVID. I'm gonna die. I'm fat. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't get out of bed for 2 days. I was just so terrified that anything I did was gonna kill me, and I was just so miserable that eventually I was like, if I die, I'm not dying in bed.
Yeah.
And it was just like that was so scary for a thing that when I finally did get COVID, it felt like a 3-day hangover, and then I was fine.
Yeah. Getting COVID was so funny because I when I got COVID, first of all, just stay inside with your COVID. Fuck that. I'm going to get an IV. I'm going to get a shot, go to the doctor. I'm going to do everything I can. I'll be outside as much as possible. I'm not going to like hang out and just be like, ugh. So my COVID was gone in 2 days. But even as it was gone, people were like, oh no, it's day 5 when it goes into your lungs. And after day 5, like, oh, day 9 is when it really becomes evil. And I'm like, what? No. I mean, I know like people got fucked up and people died. I know one person who died personally, who was a friend. But in general, like, I mean, Darian's here. You know what I mean?
I've had it 3 times.
You've had 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had it twice.
But you guys got vaxxed?
I
No.
got.
You never got vaxxed?
No. My dad bothers me about it a lot.
Still?
Yeah.
Even at this point when everyone's like, well, it doesn't
Actually,
prevent
he doesn't.
transmission.
That's unfair. He doesn't bother me about it. But it is definitely it's an interesting thing where it's like I've gotten it 3 times and I've been fine all 3 times. Why would I get vaccinated now?
100%. I got fired from a movie because I said that I didn't want to get the second shot. I told the director at a cocktail
you have to
party.
be vaxxed, right? Because working in TV, like there's not
Well,
even a
you
fucking.
don't have to be vaxxed because I cannot tell you the amount of actors that you know, famous actors, that just have their vax cards bought or forged.
And they're not real, yeah.
But thousands of thousands. I mean, like literally half the NBA is what
yeah.
they do. They're like, just make one for me.
Yeah.
And they just go, okay, cool.
Oh,
They're not putting in a database and figure it out. So
No.
it got to the point where like I think half of like SAG was just faking their fucking vax cards.
Well, I got it because like I've always been pretty indiscriminate with drugs. Where it's like, I mean, like whatever. I got all the other vaccines; those seemed to be fine. I've never died of anything, so it's working great. I'm not gonna get double autism, you know. Like, And at the time I was married, my wife was in the service industry, and so she had to have one to work. And then anywhere that I wanted to go, I had to have one.
Yeah.
And so it was like, what? I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
So I went and got him at fucking CVS. And that whole thing, it was like, well, eventually this is going to be great comedy talking about getting my shot at a fucking CVS where I used to come to get all the Delsum that I would to RoboTrip. And then you get the vaccine, and then you see all the other comics doing jokes about it, and you're like, if anyone ever talks about this again, I'm going to stab them.
Oh my God, I know. I was like in this weird fucking like loop. I felt like Pablo Francisco just trapped on a loop on stage where I was doing COVID jokes for like a year straight. Like I developed like an hour on COVID, and I was kind of going like, get out of it, get out of it. I couldn't get out. It just like, that was how I opened every fucking show. Mm-hmm. And Rebecca Creed K at one point was like, maybe just fucking stop doing that. You know? So, and now obviously I don't do it anymore because what the fuck are you going to talk about? But at the same time, man, I don't know. I think that like, it's going to come back in some way.
What, COVID?
So we keep those jokes, whether it's going to be another pandemic or another disease, because look, Bill Gates has got to keep the population down somehow. There's got to be something. No, I'm just kidding. But what is your favorite conspiracy theory that came out of COVID?
Well, hold on. One that's really interesting now is that mainstream media now is claiming that that
lab leak.
A lab leak,
Which
when
was
just
so
a year
fucking
ago,
obvious. It was so obvious for everybody.
I don't know if it's obvious or not. I have no idea the science behind that. But I will say, a year ago, we all work on fucking the internet. We have friends that would have fucking strikes on their channels for talking about this.
Yeah, you get removed for saying
and
that.
now the Wall Street Journal is coming out and saying it. So that's just like fuck. That's so
It's
weird.
cool.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
It's cool just to realize that like all of this is fake.
Yeah,
Totally.
Like none of it's like they just like you have like hints of it where you're like, well, maybe the media has a narrative. Like it feels like maybe they have a narrative, and then you see stuff like that, and they're like, oh yeah, duh.
But I also think that's interesting because I think that people, that gives them a little bit too much EQ and IQ. I don't think that people are that smart. I think it's just like a swarm of birds. And the minute the birds go this way, everyone else goes, and everyone like this, like everything, like even stuff with like and I don't want to talk about the transgenders here because that's fucking
not again. Not after last time.
Even with that, you know, now there's lots of studies coming out like, hey, by the way, the risk of heart attack and stroke is 7 times more once you start hormone therapy.
Really?
Oh yeah.
7 times?
I mean, obviously, I don't know why that's even.
Yeah,
like,
hormones are crazy to fuck with.
So
I feel like if we even thought about transitioning, I'd fall over dead.
So there's a lot of stuff and studies coming out from independent sources that are studies saying that like it could really, really be a lifetime of misery if you go down this road. And people like other countries are banning it, and it's kind of shifting a little bit, but it won't fully shift until it hits this tipping point where everyone goes, okay, now we can't do that to kids. Because right now, if you say don't do puberty, don't trans children, you will get pilloried on the internet. But I think it's just right at the point where there could be a shift, and who knows? And then it's like if you say the other way, then you're gonna be fucking pilloried.
It feels close though, doesn't it? It feels like that shift is really close. Like
I don't know. I mean, there's the problem is that all of these have to have every big movement has to have a Jesus. You know,
yes.
someone's got to get crucified for it to switch, and there's not going to be. So what are the trans
Kanye
people
and
in
Andrew
sports?
Tate are going to start a podcast.
I kind of feel like Joe Rogan is in a weird way. He's sort of like at the fulcrum of so many things.
Yeah.
Because think about all the times that Joe Rogan has been attempted to be canceled by saying things like, hey, if you're healthy and you're 20 years old, you probably don't need the vax.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, how dare you? And then he had to go and apologize about it just because of corporate pressure. You know what I mean? But
that's the thing, though, is because he's now with Spotify and there's all of the corporate influence. I mean, they can just take an episode off.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, he said it, but at the same time, like he makes, someone told me this about social media too, like they will, because my Instagram is fucked, dude. I keep getting report. My things get taken down. My Facebook got deleted. Everything I put down is like hate speech, blah, blah. I did that. I was outside Creekly Cave with Jamie Kilstein.
Yeah.
There's a raccoon.
Yeah.
That got removed for hate speech because I just wrote, see a raccoon, white people would be like, but black people would be like, because these 2 black women saw the raccoon and they like ran for their lives. Me, Jamie, like, look at the raccoon, which is a silly, hacky, interesting
and
thing
hilarious,
that people can relate to.
because it just happened.
It just happened on security cam.
You can't
right?
even say that it's making shit up. It's
It was
just
hate
like,
speech. But what people told me, they said, once you get to a certain point in social media of popularity, where you're basically making so much money for the platform, they're going to let shit slide. They only do it if you're in that weird gray zone where you're not that popular, make them that much, but they're not gonna fuck this guy. But like Joe Rogan makes so much money for Spotify. He just made a comment about like, come on, Jews love money. You know that. The way Italians love pizza, which would get most people fucking deplatformed. But they're like, no, that's fine. It did violate our standards. And
I mean, there's always been that hypocrisy on all of the platforms. I mean, Twitch, the streaming platform, they would take these low to mid-level streamers down for swearing and saying stuff, but then a lot of their big earners were these girls just in bathtubs, just being whores, playing video games, and they'd be like, no, they're not being whores. This is content.
That's self-expression.
Yeah, like, it's fine. Just let them be whores. But don't say one thing is bad. I mean, our like latent puritanical values in this country of just this weird thing about sex and anything to do with genitals or them touching. Yeah. And then violence is completely condoned. Yeah. Dude, I don't know how many times I've seen that video of the kid at the school that is the 6'7", 270-pound kid with special needs, and his teacher takes away his Nintendo Switch.
Oh, that was a special needs kid.
Yeah. So she was a paraprofessional, which means that she works with and assigned to special needs kids that need more than just a single teacher. So there's a teacher, and then there's a paraprofessional that helps with these like special needs kids. So she took away his Nintendo Switch, and then he just body checked her, and then just beat her unconscious body. Yeah, and that's on every Instagram.
I know, it's crazy. I commented on that, and someone wrote their thoughts, and I wrote, yeah, my thoughts are, how completely useless are women? Because that one woman came up with a guy he tapped on his shoulder. Yeah. Come on. I understand you want to put yourself in harm's way, but there's a certain point, and this always I always think about this. It's like the South Park, the South Park story and Team America, whatever. There's dicks, pussies, and assholes. You need a dick sometimes to fuck an asshole, because everyone just can't be pussies. Yeah. Because then assholes are just going to shit on everyone, Yeah. And it's really stupid and gross. Wow. But it's actually like you need dicks. Yeah. You needed a guy that come down there and just choke that motherfucker out. You know what I mean? I know he's special needs, and God bless him and hope he's fine, but like he needs to be choked the fuck out.
Well, and so that's my argument with all of that is anybody that needs special treatment, like your special treatment doesn't include your victimization of others. Yeah. So you can be however retarded you want to be, but if you start hitting people,
or however retarded
it's special needs retarded, okay?
Well, his special needs are that he needs a teacher to give him more attention, not that he needs a human punching bag. His special need wasn't to knock this bitch out. You know? But also, then you look at the whole situation, you break it down further. Why did he have a Nintendo Switch at school? Yeah. Those are like $300.
I know, that's weird.
But where did his parents...
How was he playing
Did they buy it for him?
Was he in detention?
Did he steal... It was just in class. It was during the daytime.
Oh, man. I love shit like that.
Do you have a Switch?
No. No? I never played video games, not because I'm too busy, just because I'm bad at them. I don't have enough.
I just never got into them either, yeah. And I think about it all the time. I kind of want to Switch. That's the one that I kind of want.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
But doesn't it just like slowly just ruin your life?
Yeah. But it's like any other fun thing. You have to figure out moderation with it, or it will.
Oh, fuck that!
I started playing video games when I was younger.
I gave up on trying to figure out moderation in anything.
I used to be one of those assholes on my phone that would get those in-phone apps where you walk in a circle and collect coins. I'm so good at collecting coins in a circle, and then $19.99 for 8 million coins. You're like, it's like $20.
I got it.
Next thing you know, you're taking out a home equity loan to fucking play whatever the goddamn game is. Yeah,
all of those. So I'm very much a sucker for all of that shit. But they're just fun and engrossing. And the thing that I like about video games is that if you find one that you like, that you're mechanically adroit enough to play, eventually you hit a flow state where the level of challenge is perfectly suited to your level of skill, and you have to be entirely zoned in and locked in. So, there's a game I play right now that's a Pokemon game that's like a scoring points thing where you got to kill the others, you get points, and then you got to score them in a goal. Yeah. And it's 6 to 10 minutes. And for those 6 to 10 minutes, nothing else in the world even exists. Yeah. And it's that's kind of cool.
So when you're done with the 10 minutes, then you're done. You don't stay on it for 3 hours.
No, I'll stay on it for 3 hours. That's the thing. It's I'll be playing it, and then I'll be like, that one was really good. Another. And then eventually you're like, okay, I'm burnt out on that thing. Yeah. Then you're done.
Because the people who make these, they're very smart people who do this. And they know that they're manipulating. I have a friend who did The Bachelor, right? And as much as The Bachelor is like ridiculous and everyone's crying and fighting, like what's happening? There are a bunch of like Harvard grads producing that show who are sitting there with notepads who are like have degrees in psychology, like how do we get this person to throw a drink in someone's face?
Yeah.
How do we get this woman to have an emotional breakdown? They're literally like that scheming
That's
that they
so
do that,
cool.
and they
love shit like that.
and they get in there. The Bachelor more than anything is just a social experiment. You know, that's really what it is.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch, but people, why all these women fall in love with this guy, or why do all these guys fall in love with women? And my friend who was on The Bachelorette said, you're so starved for a woman that you're sitting there with all these fucking dudes, and they're like, Rebecca's coming in 20 minutes. You're like, oh, okay, Rebecca's coming. And then it's like 30 minutes. It's like 40 minutes. And they're like, fuck. And then all of a sudden, like, smoke comes and doves fly, and she opens and she's dressed in makeup, and you haven't showered in 2 days.
You're like, I love her.
Oh, I love, yeah, 100%. And it's 100%.
Wow.
And same thing with video games. I know it's a weird segue, but like they have studied human psychology and brainwaves, and they know this is how you hook people. This is how you get the dopamine. This is how you get the endorphins. This is exactly what you do. The little what's the frequency? It's like 528 frequency, whatever. The same frequency for casino games.
Yeah.
So you always think like it's a happiness frequency in your brain.
Wow.
So whenever you hear it, you're like, oh, I'm winning. Like you're losing a game, but you're like your brain goes, oh, you're winning.
Hell yeah, you are.
So same thing with the little phone apps. You hit your little coin, you're like, you're like, my dopamine gets released.
Yeah.
So they are fucking with your head, and you're never going to be able to beat them. You know,
Well,
we're going to win. House wins.
But what they didn't anticipate is that I'm retarded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that everything I've ever done in my life, eventually I burn out on. Every video game I've ever played, at some point, you've mastered it.
Yeah.
It's
What about those open world games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and all
nightmare.
that shit?
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
It gives me anxiety to even start.
Yeah,
Because it's like, I'm going to sink fucking, 3,500 hours of my life into this game, and the last 2,500 are going to be super obscure, esoteric, like finding the glitches.
But you ever do Grand Theft Auto, man?
I hated it.
Oh, dude, I did that. I mean, I literally had to throw the game. I had to throw the PlayStation away.
Yeah.
Because I was just like all night, just sweating like a cokehead, just fucking beating up prostitutes.
My ADHD doesn't allow me to get engrossed in those open world games.
That's good.
But the fast paced shit, like just versus stuff, that unlocks my Neanderthal competition thing, and I'm just like, just start fighting.
I could see myself having like a real problem with racing games.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
The car games.
Yeah.
I
can have a real issue with that.
Well,
I watch my fucking algorithm is also all clips of dudes who play those racing games and just commentate or whatever.
Yeah.
I could be you guys may never see me again.
Yeah.
I bought a PlayStation and one of those fucking legit wheel things or whatever.
So that's the problem too, is you can sink so much money into them now.
Yeah.
You could get a whole PC rig and a full F1 simulator and feel like you're in the fucking car.
Yeah. I feel like you can just get that driving to fucking Dallas. The way people drive in Texas is fucking. There's always assholes that want to fucking race you in Texas. I find.
Wait a minute. You know what was my favorite thing? I just thought of my favorite thing. One of the things on my feed right now is guys who play truck driver simulator games.
Yeah.
They simulate just having that job.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever watched them play the game? They're just driving a truck
the
from
speed
like
limit.
Albuquerque to LA. They're like, I got to deliver this thing.
They don't have to kill
It
people.
takes the same amount of time that it would take them, and they're doing it on a video game, not getting. Well, actually, so some of them are getting paid more than they would get paid to actually deliver that because they're,
they're being
streaming.
watched.
Because they're streaming. Yeah.
Who's watching the people doing a truck driving simulation?
Me. Fucking me.
That is the thing that trips me out, is there's a bunch of these simulator games that are like power washing simulator and like fucking lawn simulator, where it's just
Lawn
people
simulator,
doing
lawn mowing
mundane
simulator.
ass chores that
I know.
you would pay people to do so you don't have to do their stuff.
Yeah.
But they're like, well, I'm doing it in a game. It's exciting.
Oh yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking, how dumb is this guy for doing this? I'm watching him do this.
What do you think about this? That is us conditioning the drone segment of our race for modern slavery.
The AI army.
Yeah,
So we're
that's
just
probably
conditioning
true.
all these people. It's like, oh, well, you're gonna play a truck simulator.
Yeah.
Well, now that's actually connected to a real truck.
I mean, you're actually correct in that, because a lot of what we're doing is just feeding into AI human conditioning and human behavior, so they can better emulate it and better replicate it. Right? I mean, literally.
Yeah.
Isn't that part of the deal?
I think we got like 10 years. I think we got 10 years before the singularity.
Even that, man.
Let me have 10. Let me have 10.
Have you guys done the chatbot GPT?
Is there anything else going to fall out of you while you're sitting over there? Jesus Christ, man.
All right, man. Jesus Christ.
Goddamn human maraca.
Let's have some more. I'm sorry, my flow nays fell out of my pocket.
If we punch you, do we get loot? How does this work?
I'm like an evil leprechaun. Do you but do you do the chat? Do you do the chat GPT? Have you done the thing with the fucking?
Boy. Yeah. So I think I was talking about this before you were, because I was on OpenAI before it was Chat GPT.
Yeah. Just sending me people's suicide notes. He had it right.
Oh, what? Yeah. I've fucked with this thing a lot. Yeah. Oh, because I had beta access before it was Chat GPT.
Why?
I requested it and they gave it to me.
Oh, are you like a computer nerd? I didn't know this.
No, not at all. Not at all.
He's just a psychopath.
I had another comedian friend who knew them or whatever, and said, hey, just apply and you should get it, and I did, and I got.
Wow.
Anyways, but then I would give it all these prompts and whatever, have it write suicide notes or fucking. That was
a good one.
That was a good one. I had it write a suicide note, and then I took a picture of it and then sent it to him, and he didn't really understand the context, so he thought I was I just wrote a suicide note.
And he was like, finally.
Yeah, exactly. But even the progress that I've seen it make from when I was first fucking with it, like 2 years ago, to now is like, 10 years is crazy. It's not going to take 10 years. It's like another
double every year.
But I think for adoption into society is where 10 years is where like the singularity where people are now completely obsolete.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, we're all morons. Let's talk about the singularity. Something that we can I mean, the singularity means that, doesn't it just mean that AI computing is going to be
as powerful?
No. The singularity is the point where it can advance itself faster than we can advance it.
Yes. Isn't it already there? No?
Not in terms of like it couldn't start and create and manage its own projects of creating like an AI city on its own. You would have to give it prompts still. Well, this is where it no longer needs prompts because it's better on its own.
But where we get to the point where we can throw a ball at a robot and can catch a fucking ball?
It's pretty close. Boston Dynamics fucks.
Yeah, well, those
They're
dogs,
terrifying.
Those Black Mirror dogs.
Well, they have the bipedal ones that can do flips and parkour and everything now.
Yeah,
I mean, just in the 10 years that they've been posting those videos, it's been terrifying.
The machines won't need that. The machines will be able to program us.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Exciting.
Is when we hit that point, do we all just kill ourselves? Do we wait for the robots to kill us?
No, I think
we get to be immortal because we get to become cyborgs. We fuse with the AI, and then we don't have to die. So fear of death is awesome.
I don't even think we notice it happen.
Wow.
I think that's the way it goes down. I think it just starts doing whatever it's going to do. We don't even notice that it happens. It just starts.
What does future dystopian movie best do you think truly is going to replicate what the world is going to be?
Matrix.
Pineapple Express. I think in the future it's just going to be me and Seth Rogen running around smoking weed, trying to figure out why this cop's chasing us.
You're probably right, man. Yeah.
And then Danny McBride, and we're going to show him just hunt down a warehouse. I think that's probably the most accurate future for me.
Yeah,
there'll be 4 of us in the woods, and the rest of us will be plugged into machines.
Yeah.
Oh, do you think there are going to be woods people?
I hope so. Not for long.
Oh, woods people. Don't underestimate woods people.
Right?
They're people who are like there are people who are truly off the grid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're only going to be here for another fucking 40, 50 years. There will be nobody born.
Oh, they're making babies.
No, I don't know. No, they won't last. They'll get killed off.
By the robots?
By somebody. By somebody who doesn't want them there.
Interesting.
Wow, that's exciting. I can't wait. Aren't you kind of a little bit excited? Because, look, we're all going to die. Spoiler alert.
What?
Aren't you a little bit excited about the fact that we might die in the apocalypse? I mean, that's kind of badass way to go.
It doesn't help
my
narcissism.
Go, right? Why not the apocalypse? As opposed to just dying in a fucking nursing home, just rotting away, like, I shit my pants again. Why not fucking fighting for food at fucking Ralph's?
Yeah, but the issue is that I'm having a fucking kid. So I can't.
Are you having a kid?
I am having a kid. I don't know if. I thought we've already talked about this.
I think we did.
Yeah. Anyways,
Darian's pregnant.
Yeah.
Just give that kid the best 10 years of its life.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though, right? It's like so fucked.
Well, at least you don't have to worry about it growing up long enough to be trans.
Oh my God.
Man.
Here's also, whenever I have people who go, I would love to have a kid, but the world today, dude, the world has always been fucked. When has the world not been fucked?
Has it been this fucked though?
Okay, name a time when it wasn't as fucked.
It's
Look
always
at any time.
It's actually this is the least fucked it's ever been.
I think it's the
hold on.
less
I
fucked.
know this is the least violent it's ever been. I know,
Least war-
I
least
know
amount of
that.
war.
Least amount of war. That all that's fine, but there's
Lowest infant mortality global rate.
There's face worse than death though. It's like I don't think society is better now than it was.
So you would. So one of the things that is very difficult to calculate in this is what you don't know doesn't hurt you. So if you're back in a time where it was just normal to have a sponge on a stick and that's what you wiped your ass with, and there was just a communal bucket with water that sponge sat in, and then you all sat next to each other with no stall doors and shit and the thing, and then had to.
Wasn't quite like that, but I understand. The point
that is a 100% accurate depiction of a Roman
Sure,
shithole.
fine. I understand. The
And let me go
point
further than that.
They don't, but they don't know
Yeah.
how great it is to have your own home with a toilet and a bidet.
Yeah.
They don't get how great that is, so they don't know what they're missing. So their quality
Here's
of life
another
may be better.
example.
But
let's say 18th century French like royalty, right?
Right.
With the fucking Cyrano de Bergerac plume and
Yeah.
all that shit, walk around like, they would have a rod, a metal rod, like a foot long, right? A plunger that they would use to plunge their dick when it was crusted over with syphilis. And that was just de rigueur. That's just what you did because you all had syphilis. You had to do your dick plunge, and then you died at 34. Okay, the world's better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's way better. I think the mortality rate in America is like over 80 now, right? It's pretty. Things are pretty. We all have refrigerators. We all have flat screen TVs. We all get to fuck and not get AIDS. And disease, you just get a shot
in
and you're
terms of
fine.
human expression, there's never been a better time to be a person. But then also, like, to be in the top 1%, this was on Rogan last week, to be in the top 1% of wealth worldwide is like $34,000.
Yeah.
What?
No, I get that. I completely understand that. I'm not saying that.
What
Listen,
are you saying?
I'm also
He's
grateful.
worried about being a dad.
Well, that's true. That's really what this all. That's really what this all stands for. But it is also confusing, where it's just like fucking. What the fuck am I gonna? Anyways, this is all. This is
What
all
are you going
my
to tell your
bullshit.
kid? You have a boy or girl?
girl?
Girl. What are you going
Girl.
to tell her?
What am I gonna tell her about all this shit that I don't even understand? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's
Don't
I
dress
even
like
know
a
the
slut.
fucking-
Just tell her that you love her. That you love her.
Yeah.
And that all that matters is that like you know that she work hard and love her family and be nice to people.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to say.
Yeah,
Everything
but,
else is just bullshit.
But the algorithm is going to start programming my child before I even have
Don't
a
give her a
chance.
fucking phone until she's 32.
I know. But then she's a weirdo. Then she's a weirdo that doesn't fit in with society.
That's fine. My daughter's name is Jupiter. Okay, she's already going to be a weirdo.
Jesus
That
Christ.
bitch is not getting a
you
phone.
named a kid Jupiter?
The mom
Wow, and now guys are just focusing on the big red hole.
If she ends up being...
Oh no! God damn! I didn't even think about that. I was thinking about how they could make fun of her. I'm like Jupiter, Poopiter, poopity
Yeah.
Jupity. But now I'm like the big red fucking gash in the middle of Jupiter. Fucking motherfucker!
Christ.
God damn it! Maybe we got to change her name to Neptune.
As long as she doesn't get fat, you're fine.
I thought about that too.
If she gets
I
fat,
mean,
and she's
honestly-
named Jupiter, that's a nightmare,
That's a bad
bro.
one.
I
That's
think,
poops
I
her
think what you
pants
got to
a
do,
lot.
though, is get her fat until like 12th grade. I have this theory on women that the best and most well-adjusted women were fat through high school, lost the weight at puberty, got hot in college, got railed out a bunch, figured out how to talk to men, and then they had a rebound period after college where they're like, okay, I've been fat and an outcast, I've been hot and banged up.
I cannot do it.
Can I say something else that's going to sound fucking sick? My daughter, she's not even 2 yet, but I'm telling you,
She's hot?
She's going to be hot.
God damn it, that's terrifying you said that.
so funny.
I was
She's gonna
saying
be
the
hot.
worst
That's so
joke.
funny.
Because first of all, her mom is really hot.
Yeah.
Her mom is a dime, right?
You did well.
And way out of my league. And
Does her mom live here? Are you guys
Yeah, she-
together? I didn't
no,
think so. Yeah,
no.
yeah.
She's a nice lady.
Oh, cool.
Hey, moving on. So,
Probably fine. Sorry.
it's just hard to keep a relationship.
Sorry.
Holy fuck. Anyway,
Sorry.
so the daughter, the daughter's got like big blue eyes, like her mom. My dimples, which is my only saving fucking grace. Big black lashes. It's
gonna be a problem.
It's gonna be a fucking problem.
gonna be a problem.
for sure. My jiu-jitsu is gonna come in handy at some point.
Would you get her into jiu-jitsu?
Oh, 100%.
No,
By the
then
way,
she'll be better at sex.
women, all women. By the
How
way,
hot it would be if some girl just took you down, dude.
you gotta get your. I'm
is.
telling you, man,
Yeah.
get your daughter in jiu-jitsu because I'm telling
what the hell are you talking about?
Because I'm saying that like
What, so she can practice missionary?
yeah.
no, I'm saying that
I've got you in my
girls,
guard.
young girls are sexually assaulted and raped at alarming fucking rate. I can't tell you how many times on my podcast I've had female comics like, "Oh, so what you got in comedy?" Well, I was raped in college. Oh, motherfucker! It's just so
it's insane.
Even worse than people think it is.
I do want her to be funny though.
You piece of shit.
Oh no!
Karma, instant karma, motherfucker.
So true. Unbelievable.
You don't want her to be funny, believe me.
Do you know how to fix that? If not, I can just hang it.
I bet I can figure. Yeah, hold it for a minute.
God, no, you don't want you don't want your daughter to be funny because being funny is a reaction to being fucked up. You know
This
what I
is
mean?
hilarious.
Yeah,
Just
but I
be a
also want
nice
to get
literal
along.
person.
Here's the thing.
Have her be charming and have like a sense of humor and like a good joke here and there. But you don't want like a really funny daughter because that means something went wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's so funny to me because I was listening to some comedians talk about what would happen if their kid wanted to be a comedian and how they would all try and talk them out of it. Comedy has been like my saving grace.
Yeah.
Like I've done so many other jobs, and in 2018, the year that I actually started doing comedy, that was the first time that I remember feeling any hope in life at all.
Oh wow.
Like 420 of 2016 was my very first open mic, and I signed up, stupid, like at 5 p.m. and didn't get up till like 1:15 in the morning. I was one of 94 comics at this open mic. It was just nightmare. And I did it a few times, and I was still miserable. And I was doing my day job. And I remember the first year that I W-2'd 6 figures, I was still just wanted to put a gun in my mouth.
Yeah.
I was just fucking miserable. And I was going to concerts, and I was hanging out with friends, and I was playing volleyball, and I had all this stuff.
You had the trappings of a fun life.
Yeah, but at the end of it, like, I just went to sleep every night wishing that I would wake up 10 years in the future knowing why I was supposed to be here.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I found like actually doing comedy and the community around it and the constant like just evolving Rubik's Cube where the stickers are changing and I'll never solve it, but it's somehow still fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a carrot dangling in front of me where I see the stick. It feels like there's truly like a new puzzle every night that I'm excited to solve.
Yeah.
And like, so then the thought of if I have a kid at some point in the future, like, I don't know that comedy is necessarily the best thing because it's a pipe dream and insane, but also like anything that you can do that you feel that level of expression towards,
Sure,
and that passion about, like it would be insane not to encourage that.
Absolutely, no, I agree. And you guys were talking about like the TV thing, like so I'm shooting the new Taylor Sheridan series. It's called Bass Reeves. Ooh. And it's like a prequel, something corollary to 1883. Anyway,
nice.
I'm sitting there on set, and it's cool, and like Barry Pepper's in it, and he's fucking dope as fuck, and you're like, oh, this is a cool thing, but you're just fucking sitting there, man. You're just sitting there, and then the makeup people come, you sit in a wagon, and sometimes you have a line, but even if you have a lot of lines, in the first episode, like 0 for me, but like, even as I'm going to be just fucking sitting there in the middle of a ranch for 10 hours a day, ordering my food, on my phone, in my trailer, looking at the fucking mirror. So when I was there, I was just like, I hit up Hyenas. What's the guy's name? Richie Hyenas?
Randy.
Randy Hyenas. Yeah. You set me up with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had, like, please, is there anything? And like he would give me, and I would drive an hour to Fort Worth from this fucking ranch and do a show. And I was like, that's
Fixed.
what I fucking needed that,
Yeah.
Because otherwise I just feel like I'm just some idiot sitting around on a goddamn director's chair like an asshole getting to say my 3 lines for the day, So I at the end of the day, what you're saying, acting is a form of expression. And sometimes you get really fucking lucky and you get to say some stuff you mean, but that's so fucking rare, man. Even if you're working all the time, it's really rare that you actually get to feel some form of self-expression as an actor.
Yeah,
I mean, when you're Leo DiCaprio, then Leo, I know, no. But when you're someone like that, then of course, because you get to like have creative control about what you're saying, all this. But in general, like you are
those
a
guys
pawn.
Really get to have, well, I guess Leo. I mean, that makes sense.
At a certain level, man, you can just go like, and I've been there on sets with people like, no, I'm just gonna do this, blah blah. I mean, even like Hillary Swank in Alaska Daily, she's like, I don't like this line, I'm gonna do this line, and okay, you gonna say no to her? Of course not.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, but even then, like, it's still like time card, punch in, do your lines. And that's one of the biggest things that really kind of blew my mind about acting, because I was an actor first, was I was so like, oh my God, acting, you get to, and then you show up and you get to work with famous actors. You're like, all right, what's my fucking, okay, go ahead. And then like, wait, you don't mean a word you're fucking saying. You're just selling it. and you have a good-looking face, so it works. Or you have a funny face, so it works. But you actually don't even give a fuck what you're saying, and you're not. Because in my head, I'm like, you got to be like Joaquin Phoenix or Christian Bale, and like.
Well, you care. Yeah.
I'm actually interested in this. Who do you look up to in the acting? Who's legit in your mind, in your brain? Who's like, this guy's a fucking artist?
My feeling
besides Jared Leto.
I like Jared Leto.
Yeah.
I actually think there's nothing he's acted in that he's not been good in, right?
Yeah, and he's also an incredible musician, man. People like
dude, 30 Seconds to Mars fucks.
Dude, he I mean, anybody who I feel like there's some cost. I feel like if you're acting and you somehow, I mean, look, people hate Shia LaBeouf, and he's a fucking maniac. You know, he'll like rip out a tooth for a role or get a tattoo.
Have you heard that there's rumors, and probably unsubstantiated, that in preparing for that Sicario role where he got the huge chess piece, that he was going out and just killing stray dogs?
I believe it.
Right?
I'm not saying go do that.
I hear that and I'm like,
that's
how you get those.
That's so sick.
That's how you get these insane actors. They're like, I'm a method actor. I have to kill these dogs to know what it feels like to be that person.
Yeah. I wouldn't go that deep down the fucking rabbit hole, but I do think there's a certain feeling where
Shia LaBeouf, that's a guy.
No. I mean, I'm trying to think of actors.
So you must have people you look up to. We all have people we look up to comedically, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that must exist as an actor as well.
When I was first starting, it was just John Malkovich, because you guys are too young to remember this. But John Malkovich, when he first kind of came in the scene, like Dangerous Liaisons, he did a play called True West in New York with Gary Sinise, who was like Steppenwolf Theater. This is like legend for theater shit that people wouldn't know otherwise. But they filmed it. They filmed it for PBS. It was Gary Sinise and John Malkovich, way before they were famous. John Malkovich was like 30 years old, and I was never in high school. I never wanted to act or anything like that. I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. Mm-hmm. I was Princeton for engineering, you know.
So wild.
So
really,
yeah. So that I watched.
What kind of engineering?
Aerospace. Yeah.
Put a pin in that.
Yeah.
I wasn't a good student, mind you. Anyway, so. And then I just watched this guy. It's probably what you maybe feel about acting. Like I watched this actor up there in this True West thing, which I would suggest anyone watch who cares about acting, just be a total fucking lunatic, completely just throwing shit around, choking people, like screaming his face off, doing weird, funny shit. And I was like, this is acting? I thought acting was standing there and having a deep voice and looking cool, and he was bald and ugly and just losing his voice every show. So I
can be a lunatic. I might be a good actor.
Yeah. I'm telling you. So that's what made me go, oh. Same thing with comedy. Like I think with a lot of comics, for me, and at this point it feels like weird to admit this now, I think. But for me, like Dane Cook was one of the first people that made me go, oh.
Oh, me too, for sure.
You can just be a dude?
Yeah.
My first Facebook profile picture is me wearing a red Dane Cook Superfinger shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing the Sufi.
People somehow they want to be revisionist historians about it, but like Dan Cook, he really changed the game, because before that it was like, either you're like the dude in the blazer and the jeans, like the Seinfeld type, or you were the guy with the leather jacket, like that was it, or you had puppets or did impressions.
Yeah.
There was never just a guy in a fucking t-shirt and a baseball cap telling jokes, and when Dan Cook came along, it was like, oh. I could just be like a dude who graduated from college who's kind of funny, who could tell jokes.
That's so interesting, because when Dane first comes into my existence, right? I'm in like middle school, because I'm a lot younger than you, right? I'm in like middle school, and I'm thinking. How old are you, by the way? You don't have to. You don't listen.
I'm in my 40s. Can we just keep it like that?
Bill's famous enough you can Google and get an answer.
Yeah, that's why I was okay with that.
That's pretty cool.
Anyways. But when I first was introduced to him, right, it was like middle school, or maybe like it might be the first year of high school or whatever. Hey, to me, he was not just like a normal dude in a t-shirt and a hat. He was like this super good-looking fucking like whatever, and like, so it was like a super cool guy doing commy. It wasn't
Irony alert. Anyway, yeah.
Well, it wasn't until later that I saw. It was like 2 or 3 years later that I saw Louis, and then went, "Oh, a normal guy could just do because like I'm much more
a guy who has like a stain on his shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
During the special. Yeah. Literally,
exactly. Yeah.
He's that is 100% the same. When I first saw Dane Cook, I was like, whoa, that's like a rock star in comedy.
Yeah.
Like that's the Axl Rose of stand-up. Like this guy's wearing a black tank top and he's got veins poking out of his arms and he's got his grease spiked hair and he's jumping on tables and he's going,
but also super funny.
And women are
super
just
funny.
creaming their pants for it.
Did you see him live? Did you guys ever see him live back in the day?
No.
Before I even did comedy, I was first, like when I first got out of school, it was like early 2000, and I'm in going to LA for pilot season because I want to make it as an actor. And my friend would say, hey, you want to go to the Laugh Factory and see this guy, Dane Cook? And I remember I'd go see him live. And if you've ever performed at the Hollywood Laugh Factory, if you've ever been there, like there's something about the way it's shaped. It's kind of shell shaped, and it acoustically can just become this fucking like gargantuan acoustic space. You know what I mean? Where you feel like when you're on stage,
It's very bipolar.
Big
It's
pop.
like silent or it's a fucking murder.
it's like that old commercial where you're sitting there and the sound comes at you and your hair goes back.
Yeah.
And Dane was one of those people. He was up there with beasts. He was up there with Ralphie May and Jeff Ross. I mean, you just name any comic, Alonzo Bowden, fucking that was killing it back in the Sebastian Maniscalco, all these guys.
Back when he used
You could
Maniscalco.
not fucking you could not follow Dane, dude. That guy, and whether it's because he accrued this massive MySpace army, wherever the fuck it is, I don't know, because that's how I knew him. But he would murder so fucking hard in that room that it felt like you were in the presence of something like different than you'd ever seen before. And I'd start going to comedy clubs because I started getting interested. I wasn't doing it. It was like 2002, whatever. And you would never see anyone murder like Dane. The only other person who I ever saw murder almost as hard as Dane, believe it or not, was Mencia, dude. Back in the day, man, Mencia would fucking... Because it was just nonstop relentless. He would create these waves of laughter, right, for a set that would just go, and it would never end. Because people were always kind of like either trailing off before the next joke. It was fucking incredible.
My biggest regret is that I never got to see Hedberg.
Oh, yeah.
What year did he die?
I would give my left nut.
I think
like
he died like
2009 or
2006
something like that. It wasn't even that. It feels...
You'd have been pretty young still to...
Yeah, but still, like, it would have been... I mean, I remember listening to, like, Bill Engvall's album Dorkfish with, like, my church youth group because it was PG comedy. And being like, this is fucking great. But, like, I never realized how inculcated my family was in comedy. But, like, my uncles used to take turns at family gatherings telling Ron White jokes.
I love
Oh,
him.
Like,
wow.
they would just tell them to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's who. That's also like when I look back now, like I don't give him enough credit. Like when people go like, "Who's your Mount Rushmore" or whatever, I don't give him enough credit for how much of his shit I listened to when I was really young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dane Cook has to be on mine.
Dan Cook, yeah.
You know what's also fucking wild is as much as he's like changed and whatever and has gone downhill, that dude still responds to Instagram DMs. And if you ask him like genuine questions about comedy, I got to see him at a Supernova show and I messaged him and he responded with a voice memo.
Oh, yeah.
And hearing a voice that I've spent thousands of hours listening to talking to me, like he still has that same drive that got him MySpace famous.
Yeah, man. People like I always
fucking
tell
cool.
people like you can't really like sleep on Dane because he's a really he's fucking brilliant, right? He's a smart guy. He's very, very fucking funny. I don't know. I think it's really hard to stay at the top of the game for that long.
Yeah.
In the particular situation, I think there was, personally, I kind of feel like if I was his buddy, I probably would have been like, "Hey, dude, stop at some things," because at one point he wanted to wear the black hat, and I'm like, that's not going to fucking endear you to the world at writ large, and I think he's a talented actor. So I don't know. Like I feel like with a lot of people and a lot of fame can really fuck with you, dude. It can fuck with you in ways that until you have it, you don't know.
Dude, I hope I get it. I want to see how it fucks me up so bad.
That's everyone, right? Everyone's like,
fuck me up, dog. Let's go.
Yeah. I feel like everyone I know that got really famous, like the first 2 years, 3 years after they were famous, they just became assholes. You can't help it. You become an asshole because like everyone in your world becomes very small and they're like, "You're a genius. God put you on earth because you're better than everyone else." And they start saying things like,
I need that.
yeah, you think you do, and then after a while, then things change and you dip, and you kind of have to come back to like, okay, why am I doing this, and what do I believe, and what does this really mean to me?
Well, I think that's the humbling thing about comedy, is like even if you're crushing, like there are levels to it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I have an acute self-awareness. Like I haven't had a 10 out of 10 set in a while. I've had 9s.
Yeah.
Where it's like everybody else is like, dude, you did so fucking great. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But I know what I fucked up.
Yeah.
I know what I missed.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that's ever
I
gonna
have
go
a button
away.
on that more than anything else. Is when I have a set and then I get off, and then somebody's like, "That was amazing," and then I want to choke them. You know what I mean? And be like,
yeah,
you
dude.
know nothing.
Yeah.
Like, that was terrible.
That
You
was
should
terrible.
hate me.
Yeah. The worst is when you just do a set, and I hate it when this happens, where you kind of go, oh, I have all this new shit I want to do. I want to try this joke. This is a different path. And you go up there and you just kind of almost autopilot your set because you're like, you start going down one road and it works. And then, this works. You keep doing it. And then I'm like in the middle of doing my Japanese versus Chinese accent, like, fucking kill me. I don't want to do this joke. But they're having fun. You're having fun. And
The drive to kill is sometimes like just
it's a problem.
Yeah,
It supersedes your drive to be original and create shit.
Yeah, because you know what you have. The new thing is a risk, but sometimes it's just more exciting when you have this thing. You're like, I know this is gonna. Like, I don't even have to think about this.
Yeah.
It's gonna fucking destroy. Why wouldn't I do this right
Yeah.
now? And then you start doing it, and then you're totally right. You have that feeling of like, I'm such a loser, dude.
Yeah.
I can't believe I just fucking told that joke again.
God,
I fucking know it works. It's stupid. It's stupid. I know it works. Why the fuck would I care if?
But then you're like, well, this is like whenever I headline Vegas, I'm always like, okay, these people, they don't necessarily know me. They're paying $50, $60 a ticket sometimes. To
That's
be in this
different. That's
fucking room.
totally
I'm
different.
Like,
Then I think you have an
can't-
obligation to kill.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have an obligation to yourself foremost, right? To not feel like you're just a hack pushing
This is
play
an
on a
interesting
button.
balance, and this is something you have to deal with a lot more than I do because you're in a headlining position and I'm not there yet. But I think you're more in an opportunity where you get to pick the show. Where there are shows where like if you're doing Secret Show, it should just be almost all just fucking. That should be a show where you're just trying shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas I still feel the pressure to go up there and be like, I have to kill here. This is the only opportunity I fucking have. Whereas you have a headlining set, I do think like if you're in a position where people are there and they paid $50, $60 a ticket plus 2 drinks, it's like I think you got to do the joke.
But I'm
that fucking
not
works.
well known enough or a comedy name enough that I can just go up there and just eat a fucking dick and get booked again. You know what I mean? I'm in the same position, dude. We're periods. There's no real
right.
The
That's what I'm
difference
saying.
is like
That's what I'm
maybe
saying.
this. I still have to go up there at the Secret Show and fucking kill.
Oh, okay.
Or
Yeah,
I
all
won't
right.
get
I see what
invited
you're
back.
saying.
You know what I mean?
Okay. You're right. I shouldn't assume. Anyways, but
How dare you?
yeah.
How dare you think I'm better than I am?
The point that I'm making though is it's more just about like it's just an interesting thing where it's like you have this thing where if I say this it'll work, I know it'll work, but then as soon as you say it and it works, then you feel bad because just like you already knew that it worked.
It's funny when you have these people who become like someone like Gerard Carmichael, who just became
Gay.
Well, I mean, he was always gay. But when he was like,
Wait, he just came out. Yeah. I did a period.
he would say straight things like, you know how you watch the game with your girl? I'm like, really, Gerard? This is like 10 years ago. I'm like, anyway. But he would go on stage to the Laugh Factory with like a notepad or something, and like he didn't give a fuck, dude. Because people were so invested in him and he was so likable. He would be up there for 20 minutes and say like 10 jokes and just do this. And on one level, I'm like, cool. On another level, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? But also more cool because I'm like, it's amazing that you have such a presence of mind, such confidence in where your career is going and what you can do that you can just fucking blow a set at the Laugh Factory because who gives a fuck? And it bore out to be true. That's,
Dude, I admire that. It's a thing. I don't have it at all.
I don't either.
At my core, like, I really need people to like me. Yeah. I'm
the
gonna
dancing monkey. Yeah, 100%.
Well, I'm gonna overact. I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to get you people to laugh and like me. Like I have that drive in me. It's made me better at comedy for sure. But there is something very alluring. There's this handful of people you see them where they're so comfortable in silence because they are knowing that there's something that's about to pop in a second. Like there's like a mastery to it. It feels like something very elusive that I'm going to be constantly chasing. Is just this ability to not care.
Oh yeah.
Because like you see the people that are really good at it, they genuinely have it. I don't know if it's aloof or it's just such a supreme confidence that it doesn't affect them sincerely.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go well, but they know why they're there and they're going to do it. It's like, God, that's so admirable.
Yeah.
Seeing people that do that.
And also you can still see like Burr or Louis C.K. go up at a club in Hollywood working out the hour bombing because they're they'll go in a main room and everyone loves them. So they show up and they go, here's something I thought of like yesterday.
I've seen Louis bomb. It's incredible.
Oh yeah, it's incredible.
It's truly incredible.
Yeah.
Because when Louis bombs, you have to understand when Louis bombing, it's because he's doing something that's so insane that you can't even come. You can't come. Listen, if Louis starts going down a path, especially all of us as comedians, right?
Yeah.
Louis is the kind of the guy. He is.
He's the goat. I think
the goat.
He
just is.
inarguable.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So when we're there watching the fucking goat and he's in the goat's bomb and we're not coming with him, that means he's in a subject that's so insane
That he's still figuring it out. Yeah.
that he's still figuring it out, but it's so insane that you can't even go with all the credibility in the world can't save this premise.
Yeah.
That's so fun to think about.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He had this bit. It was this bit about. I was watching him do it. It was this bit about pedophilia that was just like, dude.
Was it one on SNL?
No.
Because that bit was pretty edgy too.
That was super crazy.
By the way, he does a lot of material about pedophilia. Like, way.
Well, I think it's because it. You know, I look at that too because you see a lot of jokes about that. And it's like, why does that come up so much? And it's because it's the most taboo of the subjects.
Well, a lot of his, if you watch even his latest hour, all of this is stuff he's already done jokes about. These are just new jokes about the same.
What was the joke you're referring to? Do you remember?
It was about like the fantasy of like the babysitter where you don't want to be like 35 fucking the babysitter. You want to be 8 years old fucking the babysitter. And they just the crowd was just not was just not with him.
He has
at all.
One of his last specials, he had a whole joke about like, we got to do something to help solve pedophilia because no pedophilia is not on the menu.
Yes, yeah,
So
that was great.
He said like lifelike child sex dolls.
Yes. Oh, let them fuck your kids
people are
forever then. Yeah.
But I've always thought about that. I'm like, well, wait a minute.
I can't remember who said this. It may have been you, but somebody was like, we should let.
I'm so terrified you are attributing this to me. What did
We
you
should
say?
let pedophiles jack off to their own child porn or something like that.
Yeah, this is my thing. Is the FBI? The FBI is creating scarcity in child porn by deleting it.
Wait a minute, dude.
Here's the thing: if it's already been made, prescription.
A prescription in child porn.
You're a pedophile. You're a non-offending pedophile. You're registered. Hey, my thing that gets me horny is kids. I realize that that's bad, and I can't go fuck actual kids.
Yeah.
That's
but
gonna be a
there's
SoundCloud.
already gigabytes, terabytes, petabytes of pedobytes of child porn out there, and they keep deleting it, and now they have to go make new shit. So if you just have a fucking Pornhub of kids,
You're already registered.
you're already registered. It already exists.
Yeah.
You're not harming new kids. This stops kids from needing to get fucked.
Yeah.
No more kids get fucked anymore because all the kids have been fucked in 4K.
However,
Yeah, we should wrap it up.
I mean, does the prevalence of porn, straight porn, stop people from going out there and fucking?
I think rape's down.
Is it?
I don't know.
It seems like a lot of
I
people
haven't checked the
complaining that
numbers.
it's not. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, people have Twitter now.
Yeah.
You know, in the 60s, they weren't like, I got raped. They just got raped.
Oh, guys, so this Quindale has this great joke. He goes, you know, look at my neighborhood. It shows all the number of sex offenders in my neighborhood, and there's 750 sex offenders in my neighborhood. I really don't want that competition. Well, I love that joke.
That's, I don't know. All those topics are so funny because as soon as you broach them, people immediately get into their emotions and they're like, you can't say that. It's like,
That's
okay.
where the best laughs are, though.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? It's when you can get the crowd, when you can feel the crowd going, oh, and then you're like, all right, now this is.
Oh yeah, or you get the no.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
such a great expect. I love
There
that
was
reaction.
a guy at your show on Sunday at Vulcan. There was a guy in the front, and he was sitting there with his wife, and I was doing a joke about my blowjob robot. And I did a very graphic act out where I make it puke cum for a second to clean it out. And that guy, the whole time, he'd been like, looking at his wife, she hates it. And then that part, he eventually was just like, ah! And just slapped his leg because it was like he couldn't hold it anymore. He's like, I don't care if you yell at me. I like this.
I love that.
That's my favorite laugh in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
It's just like, I didn't want to, but you earned it.
Yeah, my favorite laugh I've gotten recently was probably because I'm bitter and single and shit. But in Vegas, all these women. There's bachelorette party. I said, listen, women. As a man in my mid to 40s, I've learned that women are better than men. They're actually smarter. They're graduating. They're more doctors. They're more lawyers now. They're way more involved sexually. They make babies. They feed them with their titties. They can raise a president. They're so much better. You women, you're incredible, and the women are going crazy. Like, yeah. I go, also, have you guys looked into the possibility of shutting the fuck up?
Yeah.
Just for once, just shutting your fucking bitch fucking mouth. Your fucking stupid, yappy bitch mouth. Put down the Twitter and the picket sign and shut up, you fucking stupid bitch. Have you thought about that? And for some reason, I just keep repeating like different variations of shutting up.
Yeah.
But I get the more I would get the women on my side, the more that everyone would laugh.
Women love being told to shut up.
And I just did it like as a weird expression of anger during the show, and I was like, oh wow, why did that work so much?
Yeah.
And then you try to repeat it, and you're like, well, now it becomes, now you've mechanized something that was organic, and now it's like Clockwork Orange. It doesn't work the same. Anyway.
Well, so you got what's coming out tomorrow?
When is this coming?
This comes out tonight. So.
Yeah. So please, everyone, watch Alaska Daily on Hulu or ABC.
Perfect. And thumbs it up, rate it and stuff. That
thumbs
helps.
up, rate it. Tell ABC, I like this guy.
Tweet, tag it.
Yeah.
Tell them it's amazing.
and then I just had a NCIS come out last week, and then a show called The Other Two on HBO comes out in like a month.
Fuck yeah, man. Amazing. And Bill Dawes on all platforms for social media. DAWES.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, Bill, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you.
I love you both.
Darian, thank you so much for being here. This has been Highly Social with Mike Eaton. Thank you guys. See you next week.
See ya.
Bye.